do you need? How we doing? Good?
So, Buck, who is that Rule 5 draft pick that's going to change the season?
Yeah, we've had a couple. Got some. I think Joy's going to be a good one, Rickard. We've got one of the best utility guys in our league, and Flaherty. Got a lot. So what does it say about your brain when you can't, like something's going on over here and you can't concentrate over here? That's my excuse, and I'm sticking with it. We'll see. We got it down to 12. At some point tomorrow morning, we'll walk down, and I think we'll participate in the minor league phase too. So be some good. I don't know if there's a better financial return for your money than the Rule 5 draft. Even at it makes the club with $650,000 for a guy that's the price you pay for a third or fourth round pick in the draft. This guy's already played college football at Alabama before you put him in the pros, or at Maryland.
Buck, how do you react?
That was the lead-in to get it going. I know you don't care about the Rule 5 draft.
Buck, how do you react when you see deals that are being made while you guys are here, Sale, the division, and all these other big moves that have been made?
Sometimes we have a selective memory. I know I try to, but this went on last year, and to some extent the year before, whether it's the Yankees or whether it's the Red Sox or the Blue Jays or whoever. So it's part of the job description in our division. You know, I was thinking about it today, it's kind of like that tortoise and hare story. You know, we kind of the tortoise in winter meetings. Sometimes they catch up to the hare. And they'll pick us to finish last again in the division, and we'll take on that role again.
Look, Dan's been pretty clear that you guys aren't going to look to add.
After Batista?
Yeah,
No. He would said that tongue-in-cheek. He's a good player.
Dan's been pretty clear, starting pitching-wise, that you guys aren't going to look to add outside of the organization. What about some of those guys makes you feel confident going into the spring?
Well, I think that just the whole we have 6 starters capable of starting and pitching well in the major leagues and have in the past. I hate saying that we got 4 guys on the last year of their contract because it's a reflection that they didn't put as much effort into the first whatever, and that's not the case, but it's just you know, it's obvious over the track record of people, they have a tendency to do that. We're actually getting calls on our starting pitching because we potentially have a surplus, and you know, you put Mike Wright and Tyler Wilson and Chris Lee, some other guys in there. We feel like I was hoping to go to 26 because we might go to, you know, we might carry that 13th pitcher. You could also entertain going with 6 starters. We're not going to give them away, and you know, see how Dylan's doing in the spring about where he's going to fit. But you know, we're going to hopefully have a full season with Darren and have Donnie Hart maybe for all year. I mean, those are 2 things we didn't have last year, and you know, we think Michael's made great strides. Givens is a guy that we can trust. So I like where we are pitching. I know that probably brings some eye rolls to a lot of people, but you look at Goz and Dylan's progress, and the way Ubaldo was probably our best pitcher last month or so, 2 months, and you know, Miley finished up strong. A lot of our guys had their best months in September, and I know what looks on paper when you look at what the Red Sox are going to run out there, and the Yankees and Blue Jays, but we'll see.
You've got 6 starting pitchers. With the need to watch Dylan's innings, is there a way to use them all in some way, shape, or form during the entire season?
Yeah. And I don't think, I'm just going to say it again, I don't see we're going to do anything differently as far as watching innings with Dylan that we wouldn't with, say, Gosman or Mike Wright or any of those young pitchers. I mean, he's almost 2 years. You have to tell me exactly how long he's removed from that surgery. I hazard to say he's probably healthier than some people that haven't had that surgery yet. So inning-wise, I'm not going to let him get penalized for that to start in our rotation if he's one of our 5 best.
Are you still set on Mike Wright developing as a starter?
Yes. Yes. I think Mike has always got the potential to do both, but I want all these guys to continue down that path because we're going to need them. We're going to need all of them. And a lot of guys that have done real well in the big leagues have followed a path that Mike's followed, where they've had some struggles early on. And, you know, there's a guy pitching for the Cubs right now that had a very similar path to Mike Wright.
That leader's really flourished under
How much are you going to miss him?
He would have first under anybody. That's you know, I'm still, who knows what's going to happen with Matt and Trumbo, you know, Mark and Pedro. A lot of people keep forgetting about Pedro in this whole deal. You know, he's pretty solid for us, one of the better DHs in the American League. And, you know, Matt's going to end up in a good place, and I haven't turned my back on the fact that he might be with us. Because this market is kind of like back to the tortoise and the hare. You got to understand, Dan's real good at judging how this thing's going to fall when all the chairs stop moving around. Who's got a chair? But Matt's going to have a big chair, believe me. He's going to do well.
And now Trumbo in Colorado that's done because of Ian Desmond is.
That's already done.
Yeah.
He's gone. He signed today.
Well, Desmond signed with the Rockies. Yeah.
Oh.
He meant Desmond signed, not Trumbo.
Desmond signed, so Trumbo's saying he's still out there.
Yeah, but in today's world, they might sign both of them. Who knows? I don't think Desmond's going to play first base.
Yes, he is.
Desmond's going to play first base?
That's what they're saying.
If they sign Trumbo, he won't.
So what I'm saying is the door open for Trumbo as well?
Oh, sure. It's always been. At a certain, you know, we had a big point of emphasis, kind of know who we are and know who we're not. But trying to stay consistent at that. Every once in a while you do something that might be a step out of what that is, but that's not up to me. That's up to ownership. And we've got as supportive of owner for our market as any manager could possibly ask for. It's been rock solid.
But do you think the leadoff hitter is currently on the roster right now?
I'm always going to look at it that way. And it could be impacted by the Rule 5 draft tomorrow. I look at it like that too. You know, could be, you know, I can tell you more who it's not going to be.
Well, you told us that right after the season it's not going to be Adam.
Well, I said I'd rather it not be Adam. I always leave myself in wiggle room. Y'all know enough. I've seen enough. I really would strongly rather it not be. I just really strongly rather it wouldn't have been last year. But I talk faster or slower than most of the guys here. About average? My wife said I talk too fast. What?
You talked about Dan being good at, you know, kind of waiting along and seeing guys.
How do you like the tortoise and hare thing? It just hit me as I was coming down here.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good. We'll use it.
Ace-up theory of management. I like it.
But as far as catcher is concerned, is that a position where you like to kind of have an idea of what you're doing?
Well, you got to, you know, that market goes in a hurry. You know, there's times when if you see it, you're gonna have to strike with it, but the right person's got to be there. You know, I'm thinking the right person is, you know, currently in house. Without getting into who that might be. You know, we're going to have some maneuverability on our roster. We're only at 36 now, so we're going to be able to move some things around. Unlike a lot of these clubs that aren't.
Is there a scenario where you would move Adam to right field and sign the center field?
I don't see that the way we're currently constructed. No, I'm not going to put that out there. Adam's our center fielder and does a great job with it.
Last spring obviously started difficulty for Kim. If he does play in the WBC for South Korea, would you rather is that good for him, bad for him, given kind of how spring training went last year?
I'm real sensitive to the pressure those guys are under. You know, I know a little bit more than I'm going to speak about here about where he is and playing for that and not playing for it. But, you know, we're going to support all of our guys with the WBC regardless. Now, it gets to a point, I'm going to look out for what's best for the Orioles. And we'll also be trying to bridge that with what the pressures, and I know it's real important to Korea. And whichever way, you know, he decides to go, we're going to be in full support of it. Would I rather he play, not play? We all have a perfect world scenario thing. I think about all the things that challenged him last year that aren't going to challenge him this year. We talk about guys that could go to another level. I think he's got that potential. We saw flashes of it. And, you know, the left-handed pitching thing just kind of snowballed on him. He's a lot better than that. I think he's an adequate defender, even a guy that could play right field instead of left field if we need him to, especially in our ballpark. So there's a lot of things. We even talked about some other people.
Do you think he's got the skill set to lead off?
He's got statistical skill set. How many true? Look at, we were in the meeting today. How much strikeouts are at all-time high? Walks are at an all-time high. Stolen bases are at in the bottom. I think we're seeing the evolution of a lot of things as we viewed them growing up. You know, so what's the most important attribute of a leadoff guy? And only Stewart leading off one time per game, just once. And we put so much on this. So I guess it's on base percentage.
How important would it be for you to get somebody who can steal some bases? You had 4 was your top last year. You got to understand who you are, and I understood who we weren't. Because we tried a little bit pushing it, trying to make it happen. It just wasn't there. It wasn't in our skill set. And it's something that Dan's talked a lot about. But you just can't. You can take a guy that can steal some bases, but can't defend, can't hit. Or you take a guy that can steal a lot of bases in the minor leagues, but he can't steal them in the big leagues because the pitchers are fast to the plate and the catchers throw better. I mean, that's, I think, part of the evolution of stolen bases, how much better pitchers are at holding runners. You know, they're teaching the changeup in Aberdeen. They're also telling them to be below 1-3 of the plate.
Any rumors here you want to shoot down to save us?
Yep, you bring up the rumor, I'll shoot it down. Seriously, bring them on up.
Interest in Chris Carter.
I haven't heard that one time in a room, but that doesn't mean Dan does a lot of things stealth. But where I'm concerned, ignorance is bliss.
Going with that.
Haven't heard Seth Smith either, but we talked about it because he's from Ole Miss. That I could overlook that.
Michael Saunders.
That's a name. That's a name. And mostly from a medical standpoint, he seems to be fine. Someone will end up with a good player there.
Nick Hundley?
I would always talk with and about Nick. He's going to catch it for somebody. Obviously, he's on a list.
At the end of the year, Michael Bourne was playing a pretty prominent role. Has his name come up again?
Oh, yeah. You know, it's the thing that when Dan's looking at the Rule 5 guys compared to if you view guys as a fourth outfielder, they view themselves as a second or third, and God bless them, they should. But, you know, it's what price you're paying for. I don't want to mention names because that doesn't mean they're a fourth outfielder. And this guy, they're getting $7-8 million, and they're projected not to start for a team. We can't do that. So we talk more about Darryl Alvarez. Wouldn't forget about him. Spoke to Bobby a hour ago from Dominican. He's going to miss Christmas because of playoffs, and said Rose is doing real well. I know we're getting ready to try to bring him back. Garbaz. We're down to talking about Garbaz and Rosa. What else rumors? Got another one?
Now, when it comes to sort of speaking of Chris Carter and Trumbo and Pedro Alvarez, you've had guys.
Mancini.
But you've had guys who were pretty much strict DHs, and then you've had guys who maneuver.
We've had some DHs that played right field too.
Right. But I mean, is it your preference to have someone who plays there basically every day, or would you rather have have a multitude of guys where you can rest regulars?
I can say this is what I'd rather have, but it just depends on which way we have to go. You know, last year because we signed Pedro late, it was good for us, especially at that price. It pushed Mark out into the outfield. But, I don't look at Trey as a DH only candidate. I'd like for him to be able to play first base. I'd like for him to make us kind of go, I wonder if he could play the outfield. Much like Christian Walker, I'd like to continue to, all these people I've talked about in the Rule 5 draft, I say, what kind of defender are they? Where can we play them? How do we carry them in American League East for 7 months? How can they impact our team every night? That's why Joey made it through the year, that and the injury. But, they got to be able, McFarland was like a utility pitcher. Flaherty, you moved him all, could play him anywhere. I mean, you got to be able to bring something. You can't just sit over on the bench and take up space. What was your original question?
About having a DH who can do.
I'd rather him be able to play. I'd rather say it's Trey. I'd rather him be able to go play first base for a day or two and get Chris off the field, and he will do that if he makes the club.
Is Chris okay with playing some right field?
Chris will do whatever the team needs him to do, but over the long haul, I wouldn't want to do it. I think physically it would be a toll on him, and before I came here, I kind of weighed into him about I want to make sure I wasn't saying no and he wants to do it. You don't assume anything, but Chris will do whatever the team needs him to do for periods of time, like Manny going over shortstop. But we try to create that what the team needs, but long-term right field, I don't think it's good for our infield defense.
How long does it take for you to normally decompress after a season? Will this one take maybe a little longer?
Oh yeah, they all do. I think that's why spring's so, I don't know, I don't want to get too deep, uplifting, whatever the word you want to use, because you kind of, it's a fresh start. You know, it's spring, you know, the flowers are blooming, everybody's going to hit 300, they hit 190 last year. Some pitcher's going to start magically throwing the ball over the plate, and you're going to be playing in late October, and then reality sets in. So, you know, obviously the way our season ended, it was a really deep cut and abrupt, and it hurt, and it still hurts. And I'm hoping at some point that it goes away, but I think it will abate some, but never completely go away. You wear it real deeply, real deeply.
Buck, I know every day you want to put your best lineup out there that you can, but would you ideally like to have a bench that you were more comfortable playing a little bit more?
Oh yeah, without a doubt. It's a real, I want to do it last year and the year before. I really want to be able to get, I don't care just because the guy's 24, 25, you know, they need some mental days too. And I really want to give Adam as much as they'll fight me on it. And, you know, they talk about how much they want to play every day, and I want them to play every day. But there's, believe me, it's as much their makeup as it is of us writing the lineup that way. I really want to do a better job of giving them some time here and there. I really do. I think it's more, you're not going to recharge your body over a 162 game season. It's more of a mental and emotional day away from it.
Could you force yourself to play players that, you know, like, in other words, Ryan Flaherty, perfectly serviceable major league player.
Well, that's a matter of debate for some people, but I agree with you.
Yeah.
But yeah, he if he can stay on, you know, he had some injury issues last year, but no, of course, he went down a couple times, once I believe. No, of course, I'd like to do that more.
Look, how do you toe that fine line though? Because it's kind of, you know, kind of the badge of honors of some of these guys playing 162
No, it's tough.
games.
That's what I was just saying. They like that, and it's not. I don't know. Maybe it started with Cal. It's just something about they want to post up and be there and kind of play through some things. And it's one of those things you're not going to get them to come in and say, "Hey, I need a day." You're going to have to take the bull by the horns and just do it. But then if you do it, first thing is everybody standing in front of their locker saying, "What's wrong with you today?" And you're asking me that, and rightfully so. And so you actually create. I think they get almost a guilt trip, and I want to take that away from them. That it's not. You know, you're actually making our club better because somebody's playing, which makes him better, and it's giving you some time here or there. So it means, what does that mean? That Jonathan Scope plays 159 instead of 162? I mean, how much of a difference is that going to make? Usually the game makes you take some days off, but we'll see.
Given that you've been kind of handcuffed at times with this short bench as well, I mean, where you're sometimes got three guys. If you guys take a Rule 5, like obviously there'll be something more maneuvering. In a perfect world, if you take one, would it be a pitcher or would it be a hitter?
I think we're going to take the best one that can impact us. I know that's cliche to get out of there, but you know the offensive player's got to be able to defend and or run. He's got to bring something. Probably the defensive part of it's going to be big. And the pitcher, you know, we've looked at a bunch of them. They all have different risks and rewards. Some have performed at higher levels. Some of them's a roll of the dice. One thing's for sure is we'll take somebody.
Have you had, when you do that kind of, you do your homework because you have scouts, on those 12, whatever you said you guys have you guys had, huh?
Went to 14 this morning for a while.
Have you had eyes on all those 12?
Me personally?
No. Have you had Orioles eyes on all those people, not just film?
Yes. Some form or fashion. I was looking at a report from 15 on a guy, but there was also 16 in film, and he put the film with the verbal and the eyeballs and the spin rates. Then we spend time calling their clubhouse attendant and their high school coach and their gym teacher and put the rest of it together, and hopefully you get some people like McFarland and Flaherty and Rickard, good human beings that are also good players.
Did you see enough from Joey last year for you to be confident that he can be a regular player?
You know, I'd like to say yes, and I should, and probably will, but there's also a part that I found all of a sudden they show back up and there's a whole different mindset. Now I got options. Now is my thumb right? I mean, I don't really know. We're going to bring him to minicamp if the union allows us. We have to get permission, but I can't say for sure who we're getting, because he was in he had nothing to lose. Tampa didn't protect him. He came in letting it rip, firing on all levels. I don't know what this spring's going to bring. It might be a week into. I go, yep, same guy. We're in good shape. I'm hoping and I'm thinking that's what we're going to see, but I'm cautious that let's just hold down before we make him the third or fourth outfielder. He was our best leadoff guy. We lost him for 3/4 of the season. O'Day had 30 outings last year. I mean, I can go on and on. There's 3 or 4 that people very conveniently forgot about.
But do you see the potential, or we look at the potential this year of Kim playing, 5 or 6 times a week, coming against lefties and righties?
I'd love to. I want to do that. I'd like to. There's nothing statistically in America, but it's too small sampling. Way too small sampling. I got my ideas, like certain left-handers that Pete hit well last year, and there's certain left-handers I think Kim will hit well. And if you look at his track record in Korea, it's been pretty good. So I think that's just like I said, there's a lot of things going to be a lot more comfortable for him this year. Spring, just everything. It's be interesting to see what he ends up playing for the WBC. He's getting a lot of pressure, and rightfully so.
What was the biggest difference between Tillman of 15 and Tillman of 16?
Sometimes not healthier, stronger. Went through some periods toward the end, but I just thought he came in great shape, great mindset, and you guys, a lot of people forget, about 2/3 way through the season, he's in the top 3 for the Cy Young. Okay, and who's Boston pitch on opening day? I was thinking about that the other day. Who they pitch? Who's their opening day pitcher?
If you won the Cy Young, I think you get it.
I just gave up $100 million. I might start that guy. But,
Although,
did I finish your question?
Yeah,
remember
I'm
Stu
fine.
used to start opening day, even though Welch won.
For a different reason, right?
I'm fine.
Just to piss him off to say he pitched better.
On the rumor, you can shoot in Brett Gardner.
Brett Gardner, haven't heard that one at all. They wouldn't trade with us.
That's what
Unless it was somebody that had to pass off on us. We've tried that before.
You hear so much about windows regarding teams and players and such.
Yeah, they said that like after 13 too.
Right.
With us.
Anything with Manny's situation that adds emphasis or urgency
Where's
to the
he
next
going?
I mean, just with what his situation.
There's a rumor I'll shoot down.
Just with
We got control of him how many more years?
Two.
This and one more?
Yeah.
That's when my contract runs out. Timing's everything. Manny's not going to be here. There's your answer.
right.
If he goes, I go. There's a headline.
Will you sign where
Oh, right.
will you sign where he signs?
Peter, I didn't mean that. I just for time. I got to pay for the donkey feed.
Does he get something of a short end of the stick when you talk about best overall players in the game?
Does he get the short end?
Yeah, in terms of just MVP talk, stuff like that.
I thought it's funny, the Gold Glove thing, obviously there's some really good ones there. And he gets penalized some for the balls he gets to that people don't even sniff. And I know when a guy we haven't seen in a while that's perceived as a great third baseman comes in, you watch Manny play it and him play it for a 3-game series. He's the best I ever saw. He's I don't know how he can get the short end. He's one of the best players in the game.
Time for one more.
Time two more. See, this is a Rule 5 draft discussion.
In terms of names in the rumor mill, how about Wellington Castillo?
Good name. Good name. I'll never let you be wrong if you care about being right. You got to have a guy on your club named Wellington. What's the food name? Wellington. Beef Wellington.
Meat and the pastry.
Too expensive. They non-tendered him, right?
Yeah.
And now he's being offered 2- and 3-year deals. He's going to be expensive. Nothing there. Huh?
They didn't want to pay.
They could have signed him and then traded him. Good?
Yep.
Anybody else? How was it for everybody?